Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. Well, today wasn't great. This weekend wasn't great at all for obviously Bitcoin and everything else. Right now we're starting out the pre-markets in the red for the most part. Also, we'll obviously take a look at what happened with Bitcoin here. It's down to like 75,000 right now as it is. We do have a huge CME futures gap on Bitcoin right now as it is. So maybe that gap gets filled tomorrow. Maybe not. Maybe later on this week. We'll see. And we'll obviously keep an eye on everything else that's happening there. But we do have some stories to talk about, obviously, what's going on in Bitcoin here. We have some news as far as what's going to be going on this week as far as earnings are concerned, things like that. We also have some story about SpaceX doing a constellation of data centers in space with an FCC filing there. We'll take a look at that. What else do we have here? MicroStrategy looking to buy again here. We'll talk about that. Anything else? We'll also take a look at how the miners have possibly decoupled from Bitcoin here. They got two tables to take a look at here as far as how the miners have done here in January compared to Bitcoin and also all of last year. That might give us a little bit of a sign as far as the miners, for the most part, maybe have decoupled here from Bitcoin, which obviously was great for us, but not great for Bitcoin there. All right, but let's get into it here as always. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out, and I greatly appreciate you all coming in here on this late Sunday evening, or Sunday night now, as it is. All right, let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin here. So here's Bitcoin. Over the weekend, had one heck of a drop here on Saturday. We were down 6.49%. Yeah, we closed at that point at $78,648 exactly. We were down a little bit more here on Sunday. We were down another 2.23%. We're down right now in the new day for Monday as well. We're down 1.55%. So we've definitely getting close to that mark where we hit it back in April of last year. Actually, we're right at that mark right now as it is, or we at least touched that mark and have maybe bounced off of it here a little bit. We'll see if we can at least claim this. All right, my whole thesis has been that if we stay above 80,000, we'll be good here. A drop below that for a short period of time is still not too worrisome for me, but it does start to become a little bit worrisome. If we hold that below, or actually if we go down even lower, below 70,000 at that point, well, heck, we might be in another bear market with Bitcoin here. We might be going down. And we won't get an extended cycle like my original thoughts were. So we'll see how this plays out. This could be just one last major leg down before we go up. Hard to tell right now, but I mean the RSI is way oversold on the daily. You can see that down here. It's 22 right now. Last time we were back here, this was obviously back in November, and then prior to that we were also back here in February of 2025 of last year, where then we finally bottomed out here in April at that point. So either we're very, very close to the bottom here, or we're going to go down a little bit more here, but I don't know if we will. RSI is looking pretty low on that one as well. If you recall, we went back to April of last year, right, where we bottomed out here. RSI was much higher at that point if you look at it here. You can see the RSI at that point when we bottomed out was at 42. This time we're at the same spot, but with the RSI is at 33. So to me, this looks like a bottoming out potentially. But time will tell, okay? I'm still long-term optimistic in Bitcoin. Right, we're going to get to $1 million eventually, whether it's going to be 5 years, 10 years down the road, whatever it's going to be. We're going to get there one way or another. We just have so much adoption happening here in this space. We got maybe a bill going, maybe a bill getting signed here in the next month or so. For clarity on Bitcoin and everything else, that would all be great for us. All right, so let's take a look at how other things. We can also see that gold and silver are down quite a bit as well for the new trading week here. Gold is down 4.31%. Silver is down another 7.1%. So everything's kind of coming down here as it is right now. So we'll keep an eye on everything. But let's take a look at how the miners did here, or at least what they're doing in pre-hours here. Let's see if we update this one. So BitDeer is down 0.31% here. Bitfarms is right now down 0.85. Kango is, let's see, up actually. Kango is actually up 3.44% there. Cypher is up 0.74. Cleanspark right now is up a little bit, 0.08%. CORZ Scientific, is down 0.41%. Hive Digital is down 1.07%. Hut 8 is up 0.2%. IREN here is up a little bit as well, 0.76%. It has obviously earnings coming up this week on February 5th. Mara is down 0.11% there. Riot is up 0.45%, and TeraWolf, last but not least, is down 0.22. So kind of mixed on the minor share as it is. Now, for the month of January, Bitcoin was down 10.17%. That is our fourth straight month of losses here. It's been a while since we had one of those. since it looks like 2018 there. 2018, we actually had 5 months in a row where we were in the red at that point. So we're going way, way, way back to that point. We're starting off February in the red also. So that would be our 5th month in the red here if that plays out that way. Okay. And then we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin ETF inflows, outflows. We had quite a bit of outflows on Friday with BlackRock reporting 528.3 million basically sold out there. It's been a rough 4 days. Last 2 days, at least of the month, were really, really bad. We had outflows of 117 million and 509 million, so that's not looking too good for us. We'll see how this week plays out, though. All right, some stories that we do have here that we're going to get into here. From the Kubesi letter here, key events for this week. January ISM manufacturing PMI data is coming out tomorrow. December JOLTS job opening data is coming out on Tuesday. Alphabet, Google reports earnings on Wednesday. Initial jobless claims data is coming out on Thursday. Amazon is reporting their earnings on Thursday, along with IREN and Cleanspark there, I believe. Those two will be reporting, so that'll be interesting to see if there's any good news there from any of those guys. And then January jobs reports comes out on Friday there, so it's all about earnings and labor market this week. Going into Bitcoin here, Plan B. If you guys don't follow him, obviously he's very well known here, but here's what he had to say. Bitcoin closed January at 78,635, down 38% from the all-time high, which is true. So our all-time high was 126,000, right around there. We're down 38%. This is why I'm still thinking that we're in that possible range where we have seen Bitcoin come down 30, 35, 30, close to 40% at one point or another, and then still be able to go back up later on. So we'll keep an eye on that. But he's saying here 200-week moving average is 58,000, realized price is 55,000 and decreasing. RSI dropped below 50, blue official bear territory. Historically, BTC could drop to the 200 MWA RP levels. However, this bull has been weak, no red, so bear might be shallow. Might be shallow, or we just get an extended cycle going, up this way. So here's what he's talking about on the chart. If we pull this chart up, I don't know if that made it any better or not. But you can see here blue, right? Historically, we would have had, if we had a full-on bull market in Bitcoin, we would have had a couple months where we were in the red with the RSI. We have not gotten that at all. We got to orange or light orange, but that's about it here. This was back early on 2025, towards the end of 2024 there. But after that, it's been, green, light yellow there a little bit. And then we've been coming down here. So we have not had a similar cycle like we have in the past here, which could lead us to possibly think that we might be actually going back up here later on if this is an extended cycle, and this is what it might actually look like. Okay. Next here, we have, this is from Matthew there. BTC 2-week RSI closes right above zone where all major bear market bottoms have been found. So again, another little point here that shows us that we might be bottoming out here. We're right there on that chart. You can see it just a little bit above that line there where we have bottomed out in the past here. And you can see at that point, Bitcoin has gone up, right? Gone up. So maybe we are really, really close to getting to that point here. And this is from Vivek as well. Bitcoin just hit the 12-year trendline support. Last time Bitcoin went up 400% when this happened. Tighten your seatbelts. So that would be great for us if that does happen here. If it goes up another 400%, I'd be happy if it went up, 40, 50% from where it's at right now in the next year. I'm not counting on 400%, but that would be great here. But you can see that obviously has also played into it on the trend line. So another little point there. Next here is obviously Saylor posted the Saylor tracker, again hinting at buying more Bitcoin here, more orange. And we would love to definitely see that. And this is from the Kubesi letter here. Breaking MicroStrategy Bitcoin position officially turns red as Bitcoin falls below 76,000. Their average all-in cost is around 75,000, I think, or 76,000, right around there. So they are slightly in the red here. Now, Saylor has hinted before, at least within the last 2 weeks, that maybe they are going to start buying on the spot market instead of the OTC market. That might help Bitcoin price out action happening that way, especially if he buys a lot off the spot market. Because he's been historically buying everything off OTC, which doesn't move the price at all at that point, which is obviously what he would want because he doesn't want the price to go up while he's buying it up. But if you want to bring up the price of Bitcoin, you might want to buy it up at spot, right? Take out some of that pressure on spot prices, which obviously are contributing to falling in price as well. Okay, so there's that. And lastly, but not least here is SpaceX. So this is from Sawyer. Breaking SpaceX is requesting to launch and operate a constellation of 1 million satellites with unprecedented computing capacity, orbital data centers to power advanced AI, according to a new FCC filing. So they're actually filing this with the FCC here, which obviously needed approval from them in order to do it. And we've talked about this here in the past. A lot of you, not all of you, I'd say some of you have scoffed at the idea of having data centers in space, that there's challenges that need to be overcome, and those challenges I think can be overcome relatively easily. And it looks like they're progressing, going forward with this. So this is like one of those very, very first initial steps to do this, but they are working for it, towards that goal there. So SpaceX is launching 1 million satellites that operate as orbital data centers, and the first step towards becoming a Kardashev 2-level civilization, one that can harness the sun's full power while supporting AI-driven applications for billions of people today and ensuring humanity's multiplanetary future amongst the stars. In the SpaceX filing there, SpaceX aims to deploy a system of up to 1 million satellites to operate within narrow orbital shells spanning up to 50 kilometers each, leaving sufficient room to deconflict against other systems with comparable ambitions. System will operate between 500 kilometers and 2,000 kilometers altitude and 30 degrees and sun-synchronous orbit inclinations. SpaceX plans to design and operate different versions of satellite hardware to optimize operations across orbital shells. System will rely nearly exclusively on high bandwidth optical link for communication. These optical links will route traffic within the network and to satellites in the Starlink constellation via its high-capacity petabit and high-reliability laser mesh, which in turn will transmit traffic to authorized Earth stations on the ground. Holy cow. Okay. A little surprised, not surprised, I guess, but I didn't see this coming, that SpaceX would actually be the one developing these satellites and deploying them. So now SpaceX also becoming like an AI company here? Or are they going to rent them out to customers maybe there? Maybe that's what they're going to do. I'm not sure, but that's interesting. SpaceX added, with Starship's ability to deliver unprecedented tonnage to orbit for AI compute, the capacity for intelligence processing is in space could surpass electricity consumption of the entire United States economy without the immense cost and disruption of rebuilding Earth's strained electrical grid to support the explosive demand for data centers. In turn, satellites that function as solar-powered orbital data centers are the most cost-effective, energy-efficient, and environmentally sound way to build infrastructure to meet accelerating demand for AI-enabled goods and services, which I agree as well. With the inherent efficiencies of deploying solar-powered data centers and launch costs rapidly decreasing due to the development of the Starship launch vehicle, SpaceX will be able to cost-effectively scale up its constellation as demand increases and compute evolves. For instance, launching 1 million tons per year of satellites generates 100 kilowatt of compute power per ton, would add up to 100 gigawatts of AI compute capacity annually with minimal ongoing operational or maintenance needs. Very, very interesting there. So there's a link for that. So yeah, satellites or AI data centers in space are coming. When that's going to happen here, not really sure. I'm guessing probably within the next 3 to 5 years. I would think that'd be that at the earliest. I would think that would happen here. Obviously, Starship still in the development phase, and they're still trying to get everything, all the kinks worked out of it, and make it into mass production there as well at that time. And if they can get the costs down, this is obviously going to be happening. So I'm guessing 3 to 5 years at the earliest. I would think. So in the meantime, the miners or the companies that have megawatts now available should be in a really good position as it is right now. But going forward, there's going to be obviously a lot of stuff happening in space here that's going to take a lot of the megawatts that would be possibly here on Earth up into space at that point, which is going to be interesting. So for the time being, 3 to 5 years, I think the miners are still in good shape here, as they obviously have a lot of gigawatts and megawatts to provide to hyperscalers and customers and anybody that needs that amount of wattage there to build out their data centers here on Earth, which those might be used for local workloads, basically something where you need very, very short or very I think I'm short communication time, right, in milliseconds instead of a higher amount of milliseconds there. So if you need something that's within 5 milliseconds or something like that, you might want to do it down here on Earth still. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this as well, see how this develops going forward. This is one of those things that's definitely very, very interesting. Also to note, SpaceX is going to be going public here possibly this year. There are some rumors that they might do a reverse merger with Tesla at that point, which they might also put XAI into that boat as well at that time. So Tesla's going to be an interesting stock to watch as well going forward here. If they do merge with all those 3 companies and possibly even more companies that Elon Musk now has his hands in, we could be looking at a conglomerate here that has all of these things, similar to what Alphabet is, right? Alphabet owns Google, YouTube there, other things as well, Waymo. All of those things are under Alphabet, but interesting, very, very interesting nonetheless here. All right, next here, really quick, we're just going to take a look at this here. This is just two tables looking at, have the miners here decoupled from Bitcoin. We'll take a look at the weekly chart as well here in a second. I'm going to scroll this up here and we'll get it back into, where do I want to go? Here. Okay, so we got basically for the month of January here, 2026, and all of 2025 as well. And based on this, I am almost, I wouldn't say 100% certain, but I would say very, very close to that the miners have decoupled for the most part from Bitcoin when it regards to the price action here, right? So in January, we saw obviously Bitcoin being down 3.88, and that's because I'm tracking it. It says 10% on the other ones, but I got 3.88. I'm going from 1231 when it ended at that point, going to the end of the month here on that one. So we were down 3.88% roughly. Yeah, so even if we were down 10% like it was stating, where did it state that? Here, 10.17% on that one. I'm going based on what's in here at least. They might be using a different provider for their data. But yeah, so Bitcoin's down 3.88% to 10% roughly, somewhere between there. The miners, with the exception of one, Bitfarms was the only one that was actually down 0.43% for the month of January. Mara was up 5.79%, Cypher was up 8.13%, Hive was up 8.14%, BitG was up 16.32%, Wolf was up 16.36%, Cleanspark was up 17%, Hut was up 21.53%, Riot was up 22.10%, CORZ was up 23.56%, and IREN was up 42.28%. So all of these guys here were going up, and Bitcoin was going down here, right? That's one little, at least, point where we're seeing that the miners have decoupled from Bitcoin, at least short term. Long term, same thing kind of applies here. If you look at 2025 here, going back for basically this beginning of the year to the end of the year, we can see that we've had a couple miners that were actually in the red here. BitDeer was down 48% from where it started out at. BitDeer has obviously had a pretty rough year here in 2025. So it went down. Not sure. I mean, it was doing pretty good up to the end of third quarter, and then in the fourth quarter, it did pretty badly there. Mara, same thing, was down 46.45%. That one, obviously, there's some things that investors are not happy with, the management there possibly, their operations, other things like that. So we kind of know what's happening there. They're also been kind of late getting into the AI space. Also, not much talk about doing AI in the United States. They are buying a company out in France, I believe it is. Was it Action or something like that, that does data centers. So they are getting to that. But yeah, they're not really looking into the United States. So maybe that's partially why. For those reasons there, Hive was down 9.47% for the year, given that it actually had a really, really good run during 2025. Nonetheless, here, let me see here. As far as operations are concerned, it did a really, really good job of growing and everything else, but it was still down 9.47%. The only thing I can think of a reason why is no operations in the United States, right? So they're not found in the United States. I think that might be part of the reason why it was down maybe. But Bitcoin was down 6.34%. So with the exception of those three, everybody else here has done actually really good or really, really great for the year. CORZ was even up 3.63%. Cleanspark was up 9.88%. Right, Cleanspark was late to the party of getting into AI until basically when the prior CEO was let go or resigned, whatever you want to call it. And then new CEO came in and they started talking about AI right away. And that obviously helped the stock kind of bounce there. Riot was up 24%. Also, Bitfarms was up 57%. Wolf was up 103%. Hut 8, 124%. Cypher 218. IREN 284. Right, all of these guys have in common is AI ambitions, and more so than others as well. Some of these have been obviously doing it for much longer. We're talking about it much longer than some of the other ones. But you can see here, Bitcoin down for the year, BTC AI miners up for the most part. So I think we can clearly now state that miners for the most part have decoupled from Bitcoin price action, which is great because otherwise we would have been all in the red here for 2025 with some of these things. But instead we actually got bailed out by AI and AI build out and infrastructure that's needed and megawatts and all that, which obviously these companies have a lot of it. So I expect that trend to continue here. I'll be surprised if it doesn't continue into 2026 as well. A lot of these guys are still building out, getting access to more megawatts. They're also looking for more sites for more megawatts. All of that is still happening here. So I think 2026, 2027 should be really good for them. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. But right now, Bitcoin AI miners have decoupled from Bitcoin. That's the way at least I see it. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the weekly here really quick, because last week was not great for us in any regard here. But here's what we got here. I need to probably update this, that this is as of 2/1, because today's already February. Jeez, time is flying by when you're having fun. But here's what we got. So we look at this chart, how far the miners have come up from their 52-week lows, which obviously hit in April of last year for the most part for a lot of these guys. And how have they done since then? Well, IREN's up 948%, Cypher's up 758, you got TeraWolf being up 549, Hut 456, Bitfarms up 247, Core 190%, Riot 149, Hive 121, BitDeer 90, Cleanspark 83, and then Bitcoin's only up 13% from the bottom there. Kango up 9.8, Strategy 7.4, and Marathon 6.1 there. Okay, so you can see a lot of these guys did really, really good here over the last 52 weeks from their bottoms. But they're still quite a ways away from the 52-week highs, which obviously some of these guys got pretty close to that here recently. Like Hut 8 is only 15% away. Terra is 21% away. Cypher's 37. IREN's are 30% away. So they're getting closer. Some of them have topped out here recently on it. Okay, for last week, last week was a rough week. Everything was down here, and their uncle looks like. Hut 8 was down 4 along with Core. IREN and TeraWolf were down about 5. Then you got Bitcoin being down 6%. So those have kind of done a little bit better than Bitcoin, but not much better. And then TeraWolf was down 8, Cypher down 9, Marathon down 10 along with BitDeer, Riot there, and Kango was down 11, Hive was down 13, Cleanspark was down 14, and Bitfarms was down 15 for this past week. Look at the 4-week, things changed a little bit at that point. We can see quite a few of these guys are in the green here in the 4 weeks there, on this chart at least. Which one's, where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin's at 7% here. So we can see here that like Kango and Bitfarms and Hive have underperformed, and Hut 8 was actually even. The other ones have kind of at least slightly performed better than Bitcoin, and others obviously much better. On the 8 weeks time frame, we can see Bitcoin's down 7%, and we got Hut, IREN being up nicely 34-35% there, BitDeer even up 22% as well. And then on the 12 weeks time frame, things change again for us. Bitcoin's down 11%, Strategy's down 25%. Strategy's been beaten down here quite a bit this past year. Marathon down 21%, Kango down 20, Hive down 16, right? Bitfarms down 9, and then some of these guys like Hut being up 51%, Core 20, IREN 16, TeraWolf 22, BitDeer even up 24% here in the last 12 weeks. So we're kind of bouncing back up here a little bit, at least on the miners as it is. Okay, so that's it. That's the update for you guys. I was going to go also I was going to do a viewer request tonight, which was going to be on Soluna, the miner there. I didn't get a chance to do the research. I had family come over today, which I wasn't expecting, but it was great to see the family. So obviously I'm going to spend time with the family instead of doing that. So I will try to get that done later on this week for the viewer request. Well, I'll take a look at Soluna, give you guys my thoughts on that one as well. Do a little bit more deeper dive, I guess. All right, so I have not forgotten about that. I will get to that eventually here. So I will make these available, as always, for you guys tomorrow to the Patreon members. If you want to join, link is down in the description, as always, on that one. And let's get into Q&A, see what you guys have to say. Where do I want to go? I want to go here, but let me take a sip of my tea first. All right, sorry, because my throat is starting to get dry. All right, let's get into it here. We're going to call this the lightning round. No, I shouldn't call that, because that's probably trademarked by, what's his name there? Jim, right? Jim, I think it's Jim. All right. What do we got here? Sarmelon says, we're currently at 40% off peak. At 60%, I'm calling crypto winter. Yeah, if we fall more than that, I would be with you on there as well. No news coming. Neutral Fed chair now in May. And no flight to safety in Bitcoin. A 4-year cycle is alive and well. I was wrong. Yeah, if that plays out that way, I was wrong too. But right now, I mean, there's still signs looking like we might be bottoming out here. Let's see, it was up 54% year to date, now up 12% month of gains wiped in few days. Pathetic. That's the market for you on that one. Let's see, even if they got a deal, people will still sell. So dumb. You're talking about like the miners there, potentially. Not always. I mean, depending on the deal, it will go up and then it'll come back down. All right. Neville says, let's pray for an IREN deal tomorrow morning. I don't think we need a deal. It'd be great if we did, but we'll see what they come up here with their results for I think it's their Q2 for them, I think it is. We'll see what that looks like. Roger says, we're cooked, boys. Not yet, right? Obviously, if you have Bitcoin, you're not doing that great, but if you have miners for the most part, you're still doing pretty good. Depending when you got into them. If you got into them at the higher price points, then yeah, you're probably not happy. But if you got into any lower price points, beginning of last year, something like that, you're probably doing pretty good. All right. All right. Ovi says more than 35% in 3 days for IREN. What are you talking about? We're up 35% in 3 days, or we're down 35%. I don't think we're down that much. Let me see. Sarmelin says sailors sweating. Yep. Let's see. Okay. Well, I'll say this. I like $35 better than 20. Probably that's just me. I think that's everybody. Let's see. Sarah says whatever adoption there may have been is now gone. Adopters are selling. I don't know if it's well, depending on adopters. Could it be the early adopters that are selling though, right? The old guard there that got into it in 2011, 2012, 2013. Some of those people that have been in there since the beginning, maybe those guys are selling there. It's just a weird market right now as it is. I mean, you're seeing gold be on a tear and then obviously drop like a meme coin here along with silver. It's just kind of weird how things are playing out this time around. No, it says it's not really rocket science. No deal in a crash would send us much lower than a deal in a downtrend. True, but at least the crash won't be that hard. True, again, depending on what kind of crash we're talking about here. Rob says, hope you broadcast that video tonight. Oh, geez, Rob, sorry. Oh, God, I forgot to look it up. Let me remind myself. I got to do that. Sometimes life gets the best of you as far as having to do stuff. Let me see, Rob, I'm going to put you down in my notes, Rob. If I don't put it down, sometimes I will forget. Rob, video. I'll take a look at the video that you sent me. Video sent. Just a reminder. I will take a look at it, and if anything, I'll post it tomorrow's show. All right. Obi says, won't be that bad. What else we got here? Sarah says, there's no news coming for BTC, and all the news there has sold off. Put those winter coats on, boys. We're going. Here we go. Again, let's not be all doom and gloom here. Well, that might be also a bottom signal there as well, right? All you guys are thinking that's the end of it. Maybe that's going to be the sign that puts us back up. All right. Obi says, I think you forgot we can always go lower. We can always go lower for sure, yeah. So he says, I can't see your point. We are doomed either way. Where is the good news? The good news is we might have bottomed out here. Obi, what the F is going on here with Bitcoin? Boy, a lot of you guys are definitely in pain right now. I think no deal and the crash would be worse. My guy. Well, yeah, obviously. Starting to see. All right, I'm gonna skip some of these comments here. Trying to find some good ones here. All right. Rob says, should I be buying into BlackRock, iShares, ETF, IBIT now that everything has crashed? It might be a good time to buy. Not financial advice, but it might be a good time to buy the way things have been going here. Maybe we're bottoming out here. Maybe. But we won't know for sure until we're past this. All right. Sailor bought all the peaks, and now the dude is red after holding for 5 years. What a dummy. Well, he was red also in the bear market of 2022 and 2023 at that point. He was also in the red at that time, if you recall. He just continues to buy, and at times he's up huge, and at times he's also in the red. So he's definitely prepared for this, I believe. All right. Daryl says, I will be going on a big shopping spree tomorrow and buying more Bitcoin, IREN, Cleanspark, and BitDeer. Very nice. Cesar says, we've been in a bear market. Yeah, it definitely feels like it for Bitcoin there. All right. John asks, what are you planning on scooping tomorrow? Farsight says, loading the boat. All right, so you guys are looking to buy. That's good. Neville, that's not the point. The good news will help lessen. Okay, you guys are talking about that one. Still damaged. Okay. Okay. Oh, he says we have a seeming gap. I hope we close it so it can sell off. Sell off. Let me see where sell off. Close it so it can sell off. I'm in the gutter. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we didn't look at the gap there. I probably should put that up there for you guys. But let me pull this up right now because we talked about it a little bit, but I didn't show it to you guys, the gap here. There is a beautiful gap here on Bitcoin CME futures right now as it is. And there it is. The gap is basically right there at about $81,160. and we are definitely at 76,680 right now as it is on it. So definitely a big gap there. Gaps like to get filled here. It might take a little bit of time here. I'm trying to see last time we had a gap on the downward side on the CME futures here, and when did we fill that gap? I'm not seeing here anything recently on the downward side. There it is. There's a gap. This was right back in 2023. Right, we had a gap here, and this also happened on the weekend there, as always. And at that point, it took us a little bit longer. So the gap happened on beginning of June, basically, and we reversed the trend here by, well, this obviously was a couple months because this is on a weekly. I need to go daily. Daily would be better. Daily here, if we look at it. Okay, so there's a gap there. And let's see, the last time we had a gap on the downward side of things is going back to here, it looks like. This was back in April, right? We had a gap, slight gap here, but we definitely had a gap here as well, a little one. And then at that point, we kind of bottomed out. So maybe this is the bottom as well. Another point to possibly put into our bottoming out signal. But yeah, there's a gap. Gaps like to get filled. All right, let's see, covered that one. Okay, got that one. Let me see. All right, Nimble says I got in around 8. I'd like to not get close to that number. $8 in IREN. That's right around the same price target or price point where I got into it as well, right around the $8 is my average. So, I mean, obviously we're still doing really good there. Yeah, I would not like it to come down to 8 as well. John, question said, at what price will you buy IREN and Cypher? IREN, I would probably buy it again if it came down to like $35, I think, at that point. I don't think it's going to come down there, but if it did, I'd probably start buying up some more at that point. I think it would be just way oversold at that time, and it would be probably possibly a good entry point because I think at that point, I think it can probably do at least an easy, 2 to 4x from where it's at. Okay, let's see. Joe says, yes, I would consider this a bear market without the extreme lows as we never got the extreme highs. Yeah. Sarah says, those are all wrong, Seb. Which ones are all wrong? All right. Sorry, I'm trying to read through the comments here. John says, Cleanspark and miners aren't up, LOL. Your tickers aren't updating from Friday. They're down double digits. From Friday, they're not? Oh, well, let me see. Let's take a look at that. You're talking about the ones for the month table and the 2025 table as well? Let's see here. All right, well, we can do this quickly too here. Let's take a look at the weekly here on these guys here, or maybe even the monthly here. And some of these guys here. Where are we at here? Bitfarms. Okay. So let's pull this back up. So I want to go here. Okay. So Bitfarms here for the month of January was down. It was down just a little bit. Let's see here. It was down 0.43%. BitDeer was actually up 16.32%. Kango was down. That one was down 18%. Cypher was in the green here, 8%. Cleanspark was up 17%. CORZ was, let's see, up to 23%. Hive was up a little bit, 0.8% there. Hot 8 was up 21.53%. IREN was up for the month here, 42%. Mara was, let's see here, up 5.79% for the month. And we got Riot being up 22% and Wolf being up 16%. So for the month, they were all up here. Now, for the year, I don't think I can look at for the year, but we'll take a look at how they did for the weekly here. Just double check the numbers here. Wolf was down in the red here. We obviously talked about that being in the red here, so I think most of those guys were in the red. Was down 5%. Riot was down, let's see here, 10%. Mara was down 9%. Yeah, so those numbers look all good there. Not sure which numbers you're talking about that are off, but I'll take a look at it again some more. Okay. All right. All right. Noah says, I don't have enough dry powder to keep buying. Please, IREN, save us all this week. Yeah, I mean, you keep buying and keep buying. John asks, what are you scooping up tomorrow? I am not anything. Ask me says, plan B and his fake charts. I mean, depending how you look at it, right, there's some truth to those charts, and they do provide some value. And you might view it the other way, though. All right. Eric says 200 EMA is 99K. You think it will visit it anytime soon? Bitcoin? I'm not sure if you're talking about Bitcoin there. Neville says, they say Trump has been front-loading a lot of pain. Please tell him to stop. Yeah, I mean, I'm tired of winning as it is. Well, I mean, the miners are still up, so I'm happy in that regard, but I'm not happy for Bitcoin. Drago says, terrible times. Sailor has no choice but to buy BTC all the time. I mean, that might be the truth there as well. Michael says, the future looks really bad. That NASDAQ down over 400 points, then down over 400 points, and the S&P down 77 points. That all metals down big, and oil down $3 a barrel. That natural gas down. Okay, so that's actually good. I mean, so things are coming down in price. But yeah, markets obviously being down. I'm not sure what the heck's going on with the markets. It is strange, though. All right, Dale's got a question. If miners drop 10% tomorrow, what would be your priorities between IREN, Cleanspark, and BitDeer? If they all drop at that point, I think BitDeer's been beaten down more. Same thing with Cleanspark here. I think that one's still way undervalued, but IREN's undervalued too with all their potential there. I mean, I'd probably pick up all of them, if anything, but not financial advice. All right, let's see. Michael says Bitcoin was up over 1,200, then reversed to down 600 points now that the rest is following. Yep, let's see. Lion says, everyone's cooked. Bitcoin not making all-time highs this cycle. Okay, maybe this is bottom signal. A lot of you guys are definitely in the negative territory here on Bitcoin. GenPal, miners are down after hours big. Yahoo Finance not working. These prices are wrong. So the after hours prices are not working right now. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, after hour prices are stuck at January 30th. So that's what we were talking about here. After hours prices on, yep, Yahoo Finance is not working. All right, we'll see if we can maybe find another source for it. Let me see what source I can find here. Let's try, I don't know, we'll just try this. See if we can get it up here. Let's try Bitfarms. BITF. Let's see here. See if they got after hours trading or pre-hours. Close after hours. Last is 1:30. They're all getting bad data, it looks like. So whoever's using the same provider, they're all getting bad data right now as it is. All right, so my apologies. That is wrong data on the miners here after hours. Okay. If you guys know a good site, we'll take a look at it. Let's see. Rob says Sparky is down 12. All ETFs, all metals, and oil will be done big. Yes, everything down. Going to Bloody D on Monday. Plan B also called for 300,000 Bitcoin and S&P 7,000. So, well, 3,000. Yeah, I mean, that's on the higher end side of things, I think they was looking at on his chart there, where it could possibly go to. It's never really gone up to those levels. It's always stayed somewhere in the middle for the most part. But S&P 7,000 is still doable for the end of the year. We're only in January, right? It still could definitely go up much more here. And the reason I think that's going to be the case here, Trump wants a good economy. He obviously wants the markets to do well. He's got the midterms coming up here later on this year as well. So they want things doing well. All right. John says, I need Seb to stay positive, to say positive things about the miners fast. Miners will be fine. This is just whatever heck the market correction, whatever's happening here right now. I don't think like we're getting into a recession or anything like that. I think things are just getting maybe repriced because, I mean, we've seen huge gains in gold and silver that, I mean, they were performing like meme coins here for a while and obviously had a huge pullback here on it. So patience. Things are always worst before they get better. Rob says, thinking of converting some IREN shares into Spark at these prices and upside potential. Again, depends where you think Cleanspark could go to, right? Can they get a deal for their AI centers, data center sites? How much of a megawatts would they get deals for, right? That all depends on it. I do think Cleanspark is undervalued. So the big question is, do you think IREN can do at least a 2x? Do you think Cleanspark can do a 2x? And then which one do you think can do maybe more than that, right? IREN has 1.4 gigawatts available in Sweetwater coming online here this year. That could be used up for, obviously, tenants there. So they have a lot of potential to go up even much higher from where they are. They could also obviously buy more GPUs for themselves, build out their own AI cloud for their customers also. So there's, I mean, I own both because I think both are great companies. But IREN obviously has done much, much better here in the past year than Cleanspark has as far as price has performed. Jinpa says, I would not do that. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely your guys' you have to figure it out yourself, basically. I can just give you kind of my thoughts on it. Let's see, John, Alphabet, TeraWolf. You're thinking that Alphabet's going to get a deal, or TeraWolf's going to get a deal with Alphabet? Another deal there, maybe? Drago says, pain ahead. Roger, question. It's 2026. Gold is pumping hard. Silver is breaking records. S&P breaking ankles. BTC 75,000. Cleanspark 12. What's your next move? Continue to hold, obviously, Bitcoin and Cleanspark there. But we're obviously seeing, well, are you saying towards the end of the year that gold and silver are still pumping at that point? I mean, they could. Nobody's saying that it can't. But I think we're getting just some correction happening here in the markets right now. All right. Let's see. Neville says, Bitfarms secured the approvals through the planning process for Moses Lake. Next, more pain. We're not sure. Let's see. Then permits, then more pain, then NTP. Okay. Patience. I just keep saying patience. Not sure what TGIR could hit $8 tomorrow. That isn't tech that pegs had under. I'm not sure what that one is. All right. CMB says manipulation, insane manipulation, very strange. IBIT large withdrawal right when the Bitcoin prices tank. Max pain here. Sadie thinks for the likes. BTC miners also decoupled the other way, flat or down in 2024 while Bitcoin rallied. Yeah, but the narrative changed on those guys here, right? They were also spending a lot of money. They were doing a lot of things here. I think recently here they've decoupled more from it to the upside, which is good. Okay. John B, where's the bottom? Hopefully it's getting close to the bottom right now. All right. Michael says, market's selling that the dips may not be bought in the way the selling is that Powell's speech has scared traders. Yeah, maybe. Did they make a deal over the weekend? I'm not sure who you're talking about there. All right. You think Bitcoin will revisit 200 EMA? It sits around 99,000. Well, I think it's going to go back up eventually. I'm just not sure exactly when. All right. Amar, question. Evening Seb. Still expecting an extended cycle, or is this the start of the crypto winter? Majority of investors do like to follow the herd. Yeah, I mean, I still think that it's to be decided. I don't think that we're going definitely into a bear market, or right now I still think we might be more leaning towards an extended cycle until, things really break down for us in Bitcoin here. But even if it does, so that's only affecting Bitcoin right now, at least for the time being. Like I said, the miners have decoupled from Bitcoin, which is great. So they're running on something else. They're running on the AI narrative instead of Bitcoin price action, which is good. But yeah, Bitcoin will have to keep an eye on that one, see how that one continues to progress. All right, Michael says, CEO of NVIDIA, answer questions Friday that Bloomberg speaking about that could have the markets in heavy selling. That NVIDIA will be big down tomorrow in the way taking on Bloomberg. Okay, I did not see that. Let's see, Amar, you hear the chat, man? These are the investors that are into crypto and our lists of stocks. They lose faith fast, and next thing, most of them will sell. That might be the case. I'm not sure. John says no money left to buy the dip. Let's see, Sebastian, could you be talking about crypto, or could you be buying? Sorry. Could you be talking about buying each of the miners at the lows by using a chart? I mean, the chart kind of tells us where we were in the past. Kind of hard to tell where we're going to go in the future here. Right, all of these guys are just one good news story away from having a nice run up. So, yeah, I mean, historically, as you guys know, I've been buying the dips on these things as they've been happening here. We haven't really had a major dip here recently, at least within the last couple of months. I mean, obviously they came down from their highs in September, but then we started going back up here a little bit. But as I'm building out the basement here, a lot of the spare cash that I would have had to buy into these things, I've been putting into this to get this done and over with. I want to get that done before summer happens, because I want to spend time outside instead of doing stuff on the inside here. But that's the plan. So as soon as I get this done and over with, I can actually then start maybe buying more dips if we get them. All right. Mar says, I would say the good news is this is good opportunity to buy, but I understand a lot have run out of powder. Yeah, we've been buying quite a bit of dips. All right. All right. Let's see more, Tim. Is the Binance guy CZ behind some of the BTC sell-off? Trump pardoned him. I think they are pushing things lower for interested parties to scoop up a bargain. Maybe. I mean, there might be some obviously manipulation happening in the markets where the banks can then buy into Bitcoin at much lower prices, right? Friends and family discount, basically. Could be. Hard to prove it, but it might be. All right. All right. Never Know Power says, just joined and see Genpal mentioned it, but Yahoo Finance isn't the best source for overnight trading. Would recommend checking the Robinhood overnight, seeing 6 to 12 drops currently across miners. Okay, so maybe we'll look at that one. I don't think Weeble's got it. I use Weeble. I did have Robinhood for a while. I may have to put that one back in. But yeah, we'll have to maybe look at that. But usually we get pretty good data from that. Let's see. Camus says the overnight. Yeah, we figured that out. Thank you for that. Let's see. Cleanspark right now is $10.70 right now after hours. May want to come down to $6.50 again. Gosh, if it comes down to that, I'm definitely gonna be buying at that point. I'll put a pause on the renovations here in the basement. Several Yahoo percents you saw weren't updated by. Okay, yeah, talked about that. Thank you. Chart damage. Let's see. I wonder if Cleanspark will dip to 892 again to bounce like it has done many times before. Well, in this market, anything's possible. Question: any Moses Lake news? I've heard rumors that they got some approvals there. I don't know how truthful those are, but that's kind of what we've heard. All right. Clean might hit $9 here. Turbo 1236 on Robinhood. Okay. Yeah, so definitely gonna be a rough day tomorrow. That might be red now, but when the actual trading opens up, it might go on a bounce back up. Amar, why do you start your streams late? Where are you located? Not Eastern time. I understand you don't talk politics, but man, this is the main driver right now. Yeah, I mean, politics are a big play in this. I'm located by Chicago, so Central Standard Time for me. And I do this late because, well, I work a full-time job, and then I spend time with the family. I do, renovations here in my home, things like that. So this is the only time that I actually have where the kids are kind of quiet. At least now they're in bed, but this is usually the time that I can, do these types of things. So that's kind of why. Okay, let's see. Rob says, the last time we had government shutdown, didn't the miners fly? No, actually, they went down along with everything else, I think, at that point. Cleanspark bag holder, thank you, Donald Trump. Wait, just be patient. Let's see. All right. Let's see here. So you think Cleanspark would drop to 97 cents? No, there's no way it's dropping down to 97 cents. I wouldn't think that at all. Why would Cleanspark fall that much? That will Bitcoin going to fall to 75 or lower to Cleanspark to fall to yeah, I mean, there's no way it's going to happen there. Let's see. Farsight, these recent moves around geopolicy and moves across the energy markets are shaking up the world. My conviction is my strategy and the miners remain strong. It is a revolutionary time, in my opinion. I would agree with you there. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of chess playing going on here right now in the geopolitical world. The thing that set it off, obviously, was, I think, the war with Ukraine by Russia there. And then also getting kicked off the SWIFT, then, having their assets seized, all that stuff. That kind of changed everything since then, I think, for where gold has been going up to and everything else. I think that was the catalyst that kind of did it all at that point. But in time, this thing is going to get worked itself out, I think. I don't know exactly when. Markets will eventually, kind of take a breather, take a cooler strategy. But I think right now things are kind of just all over the place, and really, the big thing is obviously too many distractions, too many unknowns, right? Tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs on, tariffs off. There's just a lot of unknowns happening here. So I think that's causing confusion, kind of a little bit panic in the markets as well. All right, Michael, did the government make a deal to keep the government open? I think they're supposed to be voting on something tomorrow, but so it's a partial shutdown right now as it is. The bear market, Freedom says, the bear market will be over when Seb's live streams hit lows, 50 viewers, and Seb finally hits depression, regrets not selling, is what it is. All right, yeah. I mean, we've been at below 50 before for viewers, and I'm still doing this. I enjoy doing this. Get to also pick on your guys' brains a little bit here. What do you guys think? But I enjoy doing it. Let's see what else we got here. Would you buy calls on miners here? I don't do options or anything like that. I just buy straight shares. That just makes it easier for me to sleep at night, not having to worry about having any of those options there. Is Moses Lake in Washington? Yes, it is. All right, JPB. It's going to $10 tomorrow, and if it does, 10 isn't far from 650 for Cleanspark. I don't think we'll go that low on it, but you never know with these markets. Amar, thanks for answering, man. Have a good night, you too. Thanks so much for coming in. Scotty, yes, Moses Lake is in Eastern Washington. Yeah, that's there's other data centers in that area as well. I think Amazon has one, and Microsoft also not too far from there also. So that's still all part of it. All right, let's see. Oki says, I'm crying. Don't cry. Things will get better in time. We've been through this many times with Bitcoin. But in the past, the miners were following Bitcoin. They're not really following it now. So I'm happy about that at least. So there's some positive news here. It's not all doom and gloom here. But the markets are definitely acting funky. That is for sure. Let me see. What do we got going on here? Let's see. Where's Bitcoin right now? Bitcoin's at 75,683. Let's see, how's gold doing? Gold is down 4.58%, and silver is down 8.55% as it is right now. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And let me see if I can maybe pull up Robinhood site, see where the miners are at right now. If it'll let me without logging in, probably not. Robinhood.com. Let's see. Yeah, I think I need to log in order to view it. Okay, never mind. All right, let's see what else we got here as far as questions. All right. Oops. Michael says, I guess Powell's speech put the markets into a correction now. But I mean, his speech wasn't all that bad. I don't know if it was that or whether it was also Warsh getting the nod there to be the next Fed. Maybe that put everything into a little bit of a tailspin there as well. Let's see. Farsight says, White House is meeting with crypto firms later today to discuss legislation. Crypto and banks, I think, right? Or is it just crypto firms? Roger says, you said you would consider selling when we break 80,000. Consider selling. I would consider it. Yeah, I said if we break 80,000, I think we might be going into a bear market at that point. I mean, we're still, right now we're at 38% down from the top here. So we're still in that zone where we could still bounce off like we have in the past. Until that breaks, I think we got to wait for it to see how it does. Now, would I sell the miners now? No. Based on what I've been seeing here, at least with the charts that I showed you guys earlier as well, from how did the miners do in January compared to Bitcoin and how they did last year compared to Bitcoin, I think they've decoupled from Bitcoin. So I don't think I'm going to be selling any of those here currently. I think megawatts are still a premium. Those guys that do get the deals will do very well here. I think I'm pretty well diversified. If you can call it diversification, I got basically 4 companies I'm invested here in the same space. So that kind of helps out a little bit. But yeah, I'm not looking to sell anything right now. Bitcoin, I'm going to hold on to that sucker until I retire. Maybe pass it along to my kids. When I pass away, this lovely blue little planet that we're on. Rob, so if Bitfarms is in Moses Lake, does that mean they are signing a deal with a hyperscaler? That's the hope there, but we're not sure that that's going to happen here anytime soon here. Maybe by the end of the year, we could see something like that. All right. What else we have here? A perfect day, Trump a crypto president, by the way. LOL. Let's see. tech is the most overbought sectors, like the chip sector, that other sectors like these miners should sell off. I mean, are they overbought? I mean, they're making a lot of money. I don't know if they're overbought. All right, Number Enough Power says, if you jump on Google and type in miner ticker overnight, Robinhood, then click on the first link, you can get in without signing in IREN overnight. Oh, thank you for that tip. Let's see here. IREN, Robinhood overnight. Robinhood. Okay, there it is. All right, that works. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so here it is. We'll take a look at these guys here really quick as well, and then we'll call it a day. Where do I want to go? I want to go here. All right, probably should zoom this in, but let me see if we can make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you guys can actually see this. All right, so there's IREN. IREN's down about 7% right now over 9 hours, as it is. And how do I search for another one? Where'd it go? Oh, we can just do it over here. IREN. We'll put in CLSK as well. That one's down 10%. Okay. So it's at 1067 right now. Who else do we have here? We'll take a look at Cypher. Cypher's down 9. Okay, so they're all about 10% down right now, roughly, more or less. Cypher, BITF. Might help if I actually spell it correctly. BITF. Bitfarms down is only 4.9%. And then, let's see, Bitfarms, who else can we take a look at? IREN, BTDR. Yeah, I mean, they're okay, so they're down about 8%. And yeah, maybe I'll use this going forward. This might be a little bit better. Instead of using Yahoo Finance, and this actually loads up pretty quick too, which is nice. So thank you for that, and that's actually a pretty good help on that one. Let's see, Q&A. Talk about that, Michael. Which miners should we load up the boat on? The ones that you have a lot of conviction in. So, you know, whatever those might be, if you have conviction, load up on those. The miners shouldn't sell off. I meant, okay. Perfect. You're very welcome there. Never Enough Power. Use the search bar at the top. It doesn't have all the miners, but has most, including WGMI. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you for that tip. Greatly appreciate that one. All right, we're going to call it a day. Don't panic just yet. Not everything is doom and gloom. Let's see, Perfect adds in, if you're going to be in this game for the long pull, which is the way to do it, you better be able to handle 50% decline without fussing too much about it. That is true. All right, Never Enough Power says, make sure it says overnight. Overnight, yeah, okay, so it says overnight. Appreciate that. The Perfect. And so my lesson to all of you is conduct your life so that you can handle a 50% decline with, let's see, with, where is it? With, I'm not sure what that word is. And grace, don't try to avoid it. Charlie Munger, okay. All right. Michael says, like Bitcoin was up, I think 1,200 to 1,500, then the more Bloomberg talk that started turning red, that these miners should reverse soon to the upside, but Trump needs to keep his mouth shut on tariffs. I would agree with you there as well. Sadie, you're very welcome as always. Thank you. Roger, moral of the story isn't just to take profits when it goes up. It's to, yeah, I mean, I've always told you guys, take profits when it does go up. No shame in taking profits. I have a different outlook on it, right? I can weather this a little bit, maybe better than some. And I'm in it for a little bit longer time frame, so that's kind of the way I've been playing it, right? If I needed the cash or something like that, it'd be one thing, but I'm gonna, go for the win here. Maybe it's going to be for the loose actually, but I'm willing to write it out right now. I still think that there's a lot of possibility with these guys as it is. All right, that is it. Love you all for coming in so late tonight, as always. Hope you guys have a great week. Hopefully tomorrow is going to be better than what's starting out to be like right now in the pre-hours, at least overnight hours, and then we'll see how the rest of the week progresses. Obviously, we got IREN reporting, we got Cleanspark reporting as well. Hopefully we get some good news out of both of those companies there. And hopefully the stocks go off to the races at that point. All right. See you then. I'll see you guys tomorrow.